The alien queen chose me publicly, and the entire galaxy went silent. He was a human, a young explorer and diplomat, barely known beyond Earth, and here he was walking across the polished floors of Oriali's Prime, a planet designed entirely for interstellar gatherings. Towering spires reached into the sky, shimmering in sunlight that reflected off the planet's unique crystal-like atmosphere. Hundreds of alien delegates from different civilizations milled about, each more exotic than the last. Some had 6 arms, some glowed faintly, and others floated in the air without visible means of support. Aaron's heart beat fast. He adjusted his formal attire, a suit designed to translate human presence into something more visually compatible with alien eyes. Even so, he felt tiny among the grandeur. The humans had only recently gained permission to send diplomats to these galactic councils, and most of the older civilizations still treated humans with curiosity and a touch of amusement. "This is it, Captain," whispered Lieutenant Mara, his assistant, as they approached the main hall. "Remember, just stay calm. Don't do anything human." Aaron gave her a small smile. "If I try not to be human, I might faint." The hall stretched beyond imagination. The ceiling was invisible, replaced by a view of Oriali's Prime's twin suns. Delegates from hundreds of species stood on terraces and platforms, whispering in languages Aaron could barely recognize. At the center of the hall sat a raised platform, where the alien queen of the Zalaris would appear. Stories of her reached even Earth. She was legendary, known for her wisdom, her unmatched strategic mind, and her ability to judge beings across the galaxy. Her people were respected and feared, not because of violence but because of intelligence and precision. Then, without warning, the room fell silent. A hush swept through the crowd like a wave. Aaron turned toward the source and froze. The Zalaris queen floated into the hall, her presence almost impossible to describe. Her skin shimmered with shifting colors, like liquid metal under sunlight, and her eyes glowed with a light that seemed to see everything at once. She moved gracefully, every motion commanding attention. Aaron instinctively bowed. "Greetings, Your Majesty," he said, voice barely steady. The queen stopped, her gaze locked onto him. For a moment the world seemed to disappear. The whispers of the crowd faded into nothing. Then she spoke, and her voice echoed inside every mind present. "I have chosen him." Aaron blinked. "Excuse me." "I have chosen him," the queen repeated, her words loud and clear, yet somehow felt like a thought placed directly into every consciousness in the hall. "This human, Captain Aaron Vega, is the one who will shape the galaxy's future." A gasp erupted across the assembly. Some aliens stumbled backward in shock. Some stared in disbelief. A few, more aggressive species, murmured angrily among themselves. Humans were not considered important enough to be chosen by the Zalaris queen, let alone publicly in front of hundreds of alien civilizations. Aaron's mind raced. He wanted to protest, to explain that he was just a diplomat, not a hero or a savior. But the queen's gaze held him in place. It was calm, unwavering, and filled with an authority that humans rarely experienced. "Me? Chosen?" Aaron asked quietly, almost to himself. "Yes," the queen said. "You will learn, you will guide, you will lead." Aaron's body trembled. He felt a mix of fear, pride, and disbelief. Around him, the galaxy seemed to pause. For a few moments, the vast assembly, filled with beings who could manipulate energy, traverse stars, or communicate telepathically, was utterly silent. Even the youngest species in attendance felt the weight of the announcement. Lieutenant Mara leaned close. "Captain, they're waiting for you to respond." Aaron swallowed hard. He had no idea what to say. Finally, he straightened, lifted his head, and spoke clearly. I am honored. I will do my best." The queen inclined her head, and the silence broke with a mixture of whispers, some approving, others skeptical, even hostile. Many delegates could not believe that a human had been given such importance. A murmur ran through the room. Why a human? After the ceremony, Aaron was escorted to the Queen's personal chambers aboard her flagship, a magnificent ship orbiting Borealis Prime. The interior was unlike anything Aaron had ever seen. Walls of transparent crystal allowed views of the galaxy, yet also seemed to display streams of energy flowing through the ship, alive and aware. "Why me?" Aaron asked once they were alone. The Queen regarded him. "Humans are underestimated," she said. "But you have something the galaxy needs: adaptability, creativity, and courage born of adversity. You see possibilities others do not. You think in ways no other species can. That is why I chose you." Aaron nodded slowly, trying to understand. "And what am I supposed to do?" Her eyes seemed to look into his very thoughts. "A great threat approaches, a force that consumes stars, systems, entire civilizations. Your role will be to unite beings across the galaxy to face it. That is why I chose you publicly. The galaxy must know, humans are capable of greatness." Aaron felt the weight of her words settle onto his shoulders. He had faced dangers on distant planets, negotiated with minor alien species, and survived risky missions, but this was different. This was no longer exploration or diplomacy. This was destiny. "Am I ready?" he asked, almost to himself. "Not yet," the Queen replied. "You will learn, you will train, and you will grow stronger than even you can imagine." The following days were a whirlwind. Aaron met ambassadors, generals, and scientists from alien civilizations that dwarfed human technology. Some treated him with respect, curious to see what a human could offer. Others were openly hostile, unable to accept that a mere human could influence the course of galactic history. Aaron had to navigate complex politics, xenophobic suspicions, and subtle sabotage, all while learning the alien ways of strategy, energy manipulation, and telepathic communication. One evening, after an exhausting day, Aaron walked to the observation deck alone. The stars stretched endlessly, shining like diamonds scattered across black velvet. He felt small and fragile, yet something stirred inside, a determination he had never known. Humans had always survived against overwhelming odds on Earth. Perhaps this, too, was just another challenge to overcome. Lieutenant Mara joined him quietly. "They all expect you to fail," she said softly. Aaron shook his head. "Then we'll show them why humans should never be underestimated." Mara smiled, and for the first time Aaron felt something familiar: hope. The next morning the Queen summoned him again. "Your first trial begins now," she said. "You must travel with a team into uncharted regions of space. You will face dangers that no human has encountered before. Only through courage, intelligence, and unity will you survive. Only then will you earn the trust of the galaxy." Aaron took a deep breath. "I understand. I won't let you or humanity down." The Queen's glow intensified slightly, almost like a nod of approval. "Good. The galaxy watches you now. Every move matters." As Aaron prepared for the mission, he realized that everything had changed in an instant. The human race, once barely noticed beyond its small solar system, was now on the stage of galactic history. And he, Captain Aaron Vega, stood at the center of it. The hallways of the flagship buzzed with alien activity, ships ready for missions, and minds focused on the coming crisis. Aaron knew that the road ahead would be dangerous, but he also understood something profound. Humans had a chance to prove themselves not through strength or size, but through ingenuity, courage, and unity. For the first time in his life, Aaron felt that humanity's story was no longer limited to one planet. The stars awaited, and with them, a destiny that only humans could fulfill. And so, as Borealis Prime's twin suns set in the distance, casting shimmering reflections across the alien city, Aaron Vega took his first steps into a future that would change the galaxy forever. The Zalaris flagship glided silently through the dark stretches of space. Outside, stars sparkled like scattered diamonds, their light casting soft reflections on the ship's crystal-like walls. For Captain Aaron Vega, every glance out the observation windows reminded him of just how small humans were in the vast galaxy. And yet, for the first time, he also felt the weight of something larger than himself, a responsibility not just for his life, but for the survival of civilizations he had never imagined. Aaron had spent the first days aboard the flagship meeting alien leaders, learning their ways, and observing the Queen's careful attention to every detail. The Zalaris, graceful and intelligent, had lived for thousands of cycles, and their patience and precision were evident in every movement. They trained their minds as much as their bodies, and Aaron had quickly learned that survival here required more than courage. It required understanding and intelligence that transcended human experience. "Your Majesty," Aaron said one morning, bowing as the Queen approached him in the training chamber, "I am ready to begin." The Queen's eyes, glowing softly, studied him, ready perhaps in courage, but not yet in understanding. Humans often rely on instinct, which is valuable, but here, instinct alone is not enough. Aaron nodded. "Then teach me." She gestured, and the chamber transformed. Holographic projections filled the air, displaying star systems Aaron had never seen. Strange symbols floated around, indicating energy flows, gravitational anomalies, and the movements of the void entity the Queen had warned him about. Aaron's eyes widened. Even the most advanced human technology could not have mapped these patterns. "You must learn to read these systems," the Queen said. "The void entity moves differently from anything known. It consumes not just matter, but energy, knowledge, and life itself. To face it, you must understand it as we understand it. And you must unite beings who do not trust one another to act as one." Aaron took a deep breath. "How do I start?" "You start by learning," she replied. "Observe, adapt, and practice. Humans are quick learners. That is your advantage." For the next several cycles, Aaron trained tirelessly. He learned to communicate telepathically, not by speaking words, but by projecting thoughts and feelings. At first, it was overwhelming. Alien thoughts were layered, full of emotion, logic, and memory all at once. Trying to follow them was like listening to hundreds of voices in different languages at the same time. But gradually, Aaron discovered patterns. He learned to filter the noise and focus on the intentions behind the thoughts. "Humans are remarkable," the Queen said one day, observing him. "You do not have centuries of training, yet your mind adapts faster than many of our younglings. That is why I chose you." Despite her praise, Aaron could feel the weight of the responsibility pressing down. He was not only learning to survive in alien ways, he was also learning to navigate political tension. Delegates from older civilizations viewed him with suspicion. Some whispered that humans were impulsive and weak. Others openly questioned why the Zalaris Queen had chosen a human over their own experienced leaders. Aaron soon discovered that being chosen was as much a burden as an honor. One afternoon, as Aaron studied star charts, a group of delegates from the Thaloran species entered the chamber. The Thalorans were a proud and dominant race, known for their advanced strategy and strict codes of hierarchy. Their leader, a tall, crystalline being named Verx, regarded Aaron with a mix of curiosity and disdain. "You are the human the Queen has chosen?" Verx asked, voice deep and resonant. Aaron straightened. "Yes, I am Captain Aaron Vega." Verx's glowing eyes narrowed. "Do you understand the responsibilities you carry? This is not a ceremonial title. You are expected to lead, to make decisions that affect countless lives. Do you even comprehend what you have been thrust into?" Aaron met his gaze without hesitation. "I will learn. I will not fail." The room fell silent for a moment. Verx studied him, then stepped back. "We shall see. The galaxy watches, human. Do not disappoint." As the Thalorans left, Aaron realized that this mission would not just test his mind and courage, but also his ability to earn trust. Diplomacy here was not about speeches or charm. It was about proving oneself through action, intelligence, and character. Days later, the Queen summoned Aaron to the command deck. The void entity had been detected near a cluster of stars called the Vayner Expanse, a dangerous region filled with unstable nebulae and rogue asteroids. This would be Aaron's first real test. "You will lead a small expedition into the expanse," the Queen said. "You must observe, analyze, and report. This is your first trial beyond our controlled environment. Your decisions will affect not only your life but the lives of all aboard the flagship." Aaron nodded, swallowing his fear. "Understood, Your Majesty." The expedition team included beings from multiple species. Lieutenant Mara, his human assistant, was by his side, alongside Krill, a telepathic Xylaris strategist, and Farron, a Thaloran engineer. At first, coordination was difficult. Each species had different ways of approaching problems. Krill analyzed situations logically, while Farron relied on brute precision. Mara, though human, often thought intuitively, filling gaps the aliens overlooked. During the first day in the expanse, their ship encountered a massive energy storm. Lightning-like arcs of pure energy danced unpredictably across space. Alien sensors struggled to map the storm. Farron suggested charging through it with maximum power, while Krill insisted on a careful detour. Aaron hesitated, thinking. He realized the storm was moving in patterns, not randomly. Using both intuition and logic, he devised a path that minimized risk while maintaining speed. "Follow my lead," Aaron commanded. The team obeyed and their ship maneuvered through the storm safely. Krill's eyes widened. "Impressive," he said. "Your human intuition, it sees patterns where others see chaos." Farron, reluctantly nodding, added, "Not bad for a human." Aaron smiled, feeling a mix of pride and relief. He was beginning to understand his own strength. Humans may be physically weaker than many species in the galaxy, but their minds could adapt, improvise, and find solutions others could not see. That night, as the ship drifted near a calm nebula, Aaron reflected on the day. He had faced danger, gained respect from alien colleagues, and proven that humans could contribute in ways others had not anticipated. Yet, he also knew the trials ahead would be far more difficult. The void entity was not a storm or asteroid. It was a force of nature that devoured stars and civilizations. Confronting it would require more than clever thinking. It would require courage, unity, and the ability to inspire trust across species. Lieutenant Mara joined him at the observation window. "You're different now," she said. "Before, they didn't see humans as important. Now they're starting to notice." Aaron nodded slowly. "It's not just about noticing, it's about trusting. And trust takes time to build, especially here." The Queen's words echoed in his mind. "Humans are underestimated. That is why you were chosen." Aaron realized that being chosen was both a privilege and a responsibility. The galaxy would judge humanity based on his actions. Every choice, every decision, every success or failure would reflect not just on him, but on all humans. It was a heavy burden, heavier than any he had carried before. Yet, for the first time, he felt ready to carry it. Not because he was the strongest, fastest, or most experienced, but because he had something few other species did: human adaptability, creativity, and courage born from survival against impossible odds. As the flagship moved deeper into the expanse, Aaron Vega stood at the helm, gazing into the unknown. Beyond the swirling nebulae and distant stars lay challenges that no human had ever faced. Yet, he felt a spark of determination that could not be extinguished. Humans had survived deserts, oceans, and wars on their home planet. Perhaps, just perhaps, they could survive, and even thrive, among the stars. And so, with his team by his side and the galaxy watching, Aaron prepared for the trials ahead. The burden of destiny was heavy, but it was a burden he would carry with courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding spirit of humanity. The journey into the uncharted regions had begun, and with it, the first chapter of humanity's place among the stars. The veinar expanse stretched before Captain Aaron Vega like a living maze. Twisting streams of energy danced among the stars, while glowing nebulae shifted constantly, hiding dangers and revealing paths in ways that challenged even the most advanced alien navigators. Aaron's small expedition ship moved cautiously, every pulse of the engines measured, every sensor reading analyzed. "Captain, sensors are detecting multiple anomalies ahead," said Krill, the telepathic Xylaris strategist. Her voice hummed with concentration as she projected her thoughts across the ship systems. "We must proceed carefully. These patterns, they are unfamiliar." Aaron studied the data, trying to reconcile what he saw with what he had learned. "Unfamiliar, yes," he said. "But not impossible. Every pattern has a logic. We just need to find it." The crew's confidence in him had grown since their first success navigating the energy storm. Farron, the Thaloran engineer, still grumbled under his breath, but even he deferred to Aaron's instincts more often than not. Mara, always supportive, stood by, ready to assist wherever needed. As the ship glided forward, the first real challenge appeared. A massive asteroid field, invisible until they were nearly upon it, twisted through the expanse like a frozen river of stone. Some asteroids emitted strange energy pulses that interfered with sensors, creating ghost readings that made navigation treacherous. "Maximum caution," Aaron commanded. "Follow my lead. Don't panic. Trust the pattern." Using a combination of human intuition and the analytical inputs of Krill and Farron, Aaron began plotting a path. His eyes scanned the irregular movements, and slowly he began to see what others could not. The asteroids moved in cycles, subtle shifts in trajectory that formed temporary gaps. Timing was everything. "3, 2, now," he shouted. The ship surged through the opening, weaving between massive rocks, some barely missing the hull. Farron grunted in disbelief. "Human timing, unbelievable," he muttered. Krill projected a thought. "Your mind sees possibilities that others cannot. It is impressive." Aaron exhaled, feeling both exhilaration and tension. They had passed the asteroid field safely, but the expanse had only begun to test them. Hours later, as they traveled deeper, another threat emerged. A species of strange, translucent creatures floated through the void, feeding on energy streams and leaving trails of unstable radiation behind. They were curious, harmless if ignored, but any collision could damage the ship's delicate systems. "Captain, we must avoid them," Krill warned. "One touch of their energy trails and our systems could fail." Aaron nodded, studying their movements carefully. He noticed that they moved in a predictable rhythm, almost like dancers. By anticipating their patterns, he guided the ship along a safe route, keeping the creatures at a distance while maintaining speed. "See," he said to Farron, who was watching anxiously. "Sometimes you have to see the pattern, not just react to the danger." Farron grunted, but there was a hint of respect in his voice. Mara smiled. "You really are different, Captain. Human intuition, it's amazing." Their first real encounter with the void entity occurred several cycles later. Sensors picked up a massive gravitational anomaly, a dark rift in space that seemed to pull everything toward it. Stars bent unnaturally around it, and distant systems appeared distorted. Even the Xylaris, who had studied the expanse for centuries, seemed cautious. "This is it," Aaron said quietly, feeling the weight of the moment. "This is the first sign of the void entity." The Queen's words returned to him. "You must unite beings across the galaxy to face it." He realized that this was not just about survival. It was about leadership, about proving that humans could rise to challenges that no other species might overcome. Suddenly, a warning alarm blared. One of the alien crew members, a species with multiple limbs, shouted, "The rift is unstable. We must retreat." Aaron thought fast. Retreat would delay their mission and could allow the void entity to grow stronger. Advancing recklessly would risk the ship and crew. He closed his eyes briefly, focusing on the patterns, the energy flows, the subtle signals others might miss. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "We will move forward, but in a controlled path. Follow my guidance. Trust me." The crew hesitated, unsure, but the urgency in Aaron's voice pushed them to act. Using every skill he had learned from the Queen and combining it with his human instincts, Aaron maneuvered the ship along a narrow corridor of gravitational stability. Every decision had to be precise, every calculation accurate to fractions of a second. The ship shook violently as gravitational pulses threatened to tear it apart. Farron shouted, trying to stabilize the engines. Krill focused telepathically, guiding the crew in perfect coordination. Mara monitored systems and offered suggestions. And through it all, Aaron directed them, calm and decisive, seeing possibilities that others could not. Finally, with one final surge, the ship emerged from the edge of the anomaly. The rift loomed behind them, vast and dark, but the crew was safe. Silence filled the control room, broken only by heavy breathing and the occasional mechanical whir of stabilizing systems. "You did it," Krill said slowly. "I did not think it possible." Aaron shook his head. "We did it together." For the first time, Aaron felt the true meaning of leadership. It was not about being the strongest or the fastest. It was about seeing solutions where others saw only danger, about inspiring trust, and about uniting beings who were different in ways unimaginable. That night, as the ship drifted near a calm sector, Aaron and Mara watched the stars. "Do you ever get used to this?" Mara asked softly. Aaron shook his head. "No, every star, every nebula, every danger is new, but that's why humans belong here. We see things others miss. We adapt." Mara smiled. "You're going to make humans proud, Captain." The next morning, a distress signal arrived from a nearby planet, partially swallowed by the void entity's influence. A small alien settlement was trapped, unable to escape the growing gravitational waves. Aaron realized this was a chance not only to help but to prove humanity's value further. "Prepare a rescue operation," he commanded. "We leave immediately." The journey was perilous. The gravitational waves shifted unpredictably, threatening to crush their ship. Farron gritted his teeth. Krill focused telepathically to guide movements, and Mara monitored all systems. Aaron led them with calm precision, combining intuition and analysis. They reached the settlement just as a wave of energy began to tear the ground apart. Using careful maneuvers, they positioned the ship to create a safe corridor. Alien residents were evacuated, transported aboard the expedition ship in groups. Every trip was tense, and one wrong move could mean disaster. Finally, the last group was aboard. The settlement was safe, the wave passed, and the crew breathed in relief. The aliens they rescued cheered, amazed that a human had orchestrated the operation. Even Farron admitted quietly, "I did not think a human could do that." Aaron looked at the stars, feeling both exhausted and fulfilled. Every challenge in the expanse had tested him: asteroids, alien creatures, gravitational anomalies. But he had learned that humans could adapt, innovate, and lead in ways other species could not. As the flagship moved on, deeper into the expanse, Aaron knew the trials would grow even more dangerous. The void entity was only the beginning. Political tensions among alien civilizations, unknown phenomena, and the sheer unpredictability of uncharted space awaited him. Yet he also understood a fundamental truth. Humans, though young in the galaxy, had potential that no one could ignore. Courage, creativity, empathy, and quick thinking were strengths that could overcome fear, power, and centuries of experience. And so, Captain Aaron Vega, chosen by the alien queen, continued into the unknown. Each step, each decision, each moment of leadership would shape not only his destiny but the destiny of humanity and the stars. The galaxy watched in quiet anticipation, and Aaron was ready to prove that humans were more than just survivors. They were leaders, thinkers, and a force capable of shaping the future. The flagship moved steadily through the dark reaches of the Vayner expanse, a region of space that twisted and shifted with unpredictable energy currents. Captain Aaron Vega stood on the command deck, eyes scanning the holographic displays. The void entity was near, its presence a strange absence, a gravity that pulled not just matter but the minds of nearby beings, leaving silence in its wake. "This is it," Krill, the telepathic Zalaris strategist, murmured. "The edge of its influence. Beyond this point there is uncertainty." Aaron nodded, feeling the tension in the crew. Humans had only recently entered galactic affairs, and now he, a human, was leading a team of some of the galaxy's most skilled beings into the heart of danger. It was an enormous responsibility, and yet he felt the quiet resolve that had carried him this far. "Status report," he commanded. Farron, the Thaloran engineer, adjusted controls and spoke gruffly. "The gravitational fields are unpredictable. Sensors detect instability that could tear the ship apart at any moment." Mara, monitoring communications, added, "Other species have started sending messages. Some want to assist, others question your leadership." Aaron took a deep breath. Leadership was not just about moving through space, it was about inspiring trust. And now, at the most critical moment, that trust would be tested. "Prepare all allied ships for coordination," Aaron ordered. "We will act as one. Humans may be young, but we can adapt and lead when others hesitate." As they approached the edge of the void entity's influence, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Entire star systems shimmered strangely, distorted by the entity's power. Sensors failed intermittently, and even Krill's telepathy felt clouded by the alien energy. Suddenly an alarm blared. Farron shouted, "Captain, a rogue fleet has entered the expanse. They've ignored protocols and are heading straight into danger." Aaron's mind raced. "Contact them. Warn them to fall back." Mara responded quickly, sending signals through the network. "No response. They're ignoring us." Aaron's jaw tightened. He realized some factions of alien civilizations feared a human-led operation and might attempt sabotage. In that moment, he understood the truth of his role. He had to unite beings who did not trust each other, and he had to do it while facing the deadliest force in the galaxy. "Prepare for interception," he commanded. "We cannot allow reckless action to compromise the mission. If necessary, we neutralize them non-lethally." Farron muttered, "Neutralize, humans' unusual approach." Aaron remained calm. "We are leaders because we act, not because we react with anger. Show them what unity means." With careful maneuvers and clear communication, Aaron directed their small fleet. They formed a corridor through the gravitational waves, guiding the rogue ships safely past danger without confrontation. The alien crews, initially hostile and suspicious, began to notice the humans' clarity and calm under pressure. The void entity appeared as they neared the center of the expanse, a massive dark rift surrounded by warped stars. Energy swirled like invisible tides, and silence seemed to press down on every mind aboard the ship. The crew felt it too, an almost physical pull, a void that seemed to consume thought and hope alike. "This is it," Aaron said softly. "Stay focused. Trust the patterns. Trust each other." The Queen's words echoed in his mind. You must unite beings across the galaxy to face it. He knew that this was more than strategy. It was about leadership, about showing that humans could inspire unity where others failed. As the flagship advanced, a sudden betrayal occurred. One of the alien generals, a member of a species known for their cunning, attempted to sabotage the ship's navigation systems. Energy surges threatened to throw them off course and into the rift. Aaron reacted instantly. "Mara, override the controls." Krill, stabilize the crew telepathically. Farron's hands flew across the engineering panel, rerouting power. Sparks flew as the system strained. The rogue general's intentions were clear. They wanted to prove that a human could not lead. Aaron focused. He projected calm authority, speaking firmly to the traitor through both voice and telepathy. We face a danger far greater than mistrust or rivalry. Help us, or all will be lost, including your people. There was a tense moment, and then the general paused. Perhaps it was Aaron's human courage, his unflinching calm, or the logic of survival that reached the alien's mind. Slowly, the sabotage ceased and the system stabilized. Impressive, Krill said quietly. You convinced them without force. Aaron nodded. Humans lead not just with strength. We lead with trust, courage, and clarity. That is our strength. With the fleet united, the flagship advanced toward the heart of the void entity. Aaron studied the holographic displays carefully. The rift pulsed unpredictably, but he noticed a pattern, a subtle rhythm in the energy flows. He realized that if they could synchronize their movements with the rift's pulse, they could navigate safely and even contain part of its energy temporarily. Crew, focus, he commanded. Follow my lead. We move as one with the void's rhythm. Timing is everything. They advanced, each movement precise. The void entity's gravitational waves threatened to crush them, but by following Aaron's guidance, the fleet moved in harmony. The alien crews began to trust the human captain, their doubts fading as success unfolded before their eyes. For hours, the battle continued, not with weapons, but with precision, coordination, and intelligence. Aaron's human ingenuity, combined with the skills of his alien allies, created a solution that no single species could have achieved alone. Finally, with one final, perfectly timed maneuver, the flagship and allied ships stabilized the rift temporarily. The void entity's influence receded from nearby systems, giving space for star systems to remain intact and for civilizations to survive. The galaxy, for a brief moment, went silent in awe. Aaron looked at the crew. We did it, together. Krill projected her thoughts with admiration. Your mind human, unpredictable, brilliant. You have done what others could not. Farron, still gruff, muttered, humans, maybe we underestimated them. Mara smiled at Aaron. They're starting to see it. They're starting to see what humans can do. As the flagship moved toward safer space, Aaron reflected on the trial. The void entity had tested them not with violence but with its very presence, its gravity, its silence, its influence. It forced unity, demanded intelligence, and punished hesitation. Humans, young and inexperienced in galactic terms, had passed the test. And it was not just Aaron, it was the combined effort of human courage and alien skill. The experience left a lasting impression on every species present. For the first time, humans were recognized not as minor participants, but as essential players in galactic affairs. Word of Aaron's leadership would spread across systems, altering perceptions and inspiring curiosity, respect, and cautious admiration. Captain, Krill said softly as they prepared for the journey back, the galaxy watches. You have shown what humans are capable of. But the journey is far from over. The void entity is still out there, growing stronger, and other civilizations, some will not accept your role easily. Aaron nodded. I understand, but we will continue. Humans do not give up. We adapt, we learn, and we lead when necessary. As the flagship moved into calmer regions, the stars stretched endlessly before them. Each light reminded Aaron of the possibilities ahead, of the challenges yet to come, and of the responsibility he bore, not just for himself, but for humanity and the galaxy. The silence of the galaxy was no longer one of fear. It was a silence of anticipation. Beings across star systems paused, watching, waiting, and wondering how a human could have achieved what centuries of experience had not. And Captain Aaron Vega, chosen by the alien queen, knew that the greatest challenges were still ahead. But he also knew that humans had something unique, something the galaxy could not ignore. Courage, creativity, empathy, and the ability to unite others against impossible odds. The stars were no longer distant lights. They were a call to action, a stage for humanity's potential, and a promise that the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. And with that resolve, Aaron prepared for the next mission, the next challenge, and the future that awaited him, and humanity, among the stars. The flagship emerged from the Vayner expanse, leaving behind the dark rift and the lingering presence of the void entity. Captain Aaron Vega stood on the observation deck, watching the stars stretch endlessly across the void. He had survived the trials, navigated dangers that no human, or many aliens, could imagine, and guided a fleet of diverse species in a way that preserved countless lives. Yet even as relief washed over him, Aaron knew the galaxy was watching, waiting to judge the outcome. His mission was far from over. The void entity remained a threat, and some alien factions were still wary of a human in a position of influence. Leadership, he realized, was not just about surviving the impossible. It was about inspiring trust, uniting civilizations, and proving that humanity could contribute to the greater good. Captain Vega, Krill said, her voice calm but full of admiration, we have stabilized the expanse for now. Systems that were once at risk are safe. Your leadership has proven remarkable. Aaron nodded, though he felt a twinge of humility. We did this together. Humans alone could not have achieved it. It was the team. Farron, the Thaloran engineer, grunted in agreement. Even so, a human leading us and not failing, that is unexpected. Mara smiled. They are starting to see it, Captain. Humanity's potential. They cannot ignore it now. As the flagship returned to Oriali's Prime, word of Aaron's success spread across star systems. Messages of congratulations and curiosity poured in from species that had once doubted him. Some sent emissaries to meet the human who had navigated the void entity with ingenuity and courage. Others watched silently, intrigued and perhaps a little fearful of what humans could accomplish. Upon arriving at Oriali's Prime, the Queen summoned Aaron for a public ceremony. The entire assembly of delegates, representing hundreds of civilizations, gathered to witness the conclusion of the mission. For the first time, humans were fully recognized as essential participants in galactic affairs, and Aaron was at the center. The hall was massive, filled with beings of every imaginable form. The Zalaris Queen stood at the front, her presence commanding attention. She turned to Aaron and with a gesture signaled him to step forward. You have done what no other being could, she said, her voice echoing throughout the hall. You have faced the void entity, united diverse species, and preserved life across star systems. You have proven that humans are not to be underestimated. A hush fell over the crowd. Delegates who had once whispered doubts now watched silently, some nodding in respect, others visibly amazed. Aaron felt the weight of their attention, but he did not falter. I am honored, Aaron began, his voice steady. But this was not the work of one human alone. It was the effort of humans and aliens working together. Courage, intelligence, and cooperation. These are what made our success possible. Humanity is still young in the galaxy, but we have shown that we can rise to the challenges that face us. Murmurs spread through the assembly. Some were approving, others skeptical, but all were listening. Aaron continued, feeling the power of his words. We are all different, he said. Our strengths may not be the same, but together we can face dangers that no one could face alone. Let this mission be a reminder that unity, trust, and courage are more powerful than fear, doubt, or prejudice. The Queen's glow intensified slightly, as if acknowledging his wisdom. Well spoken, Captain Vega. Your words reflect not only your courage but the very essence of what humans can offer the galaxy. Aaron felt a deep sense of pride, not in himself, but in humanity. Humans had survived and thrived on Earth despite countless challenges. They had innovated, adapted, and shown resilience in the face of impossible odds. Now, for the first time, that spirit was recognized across the stars. As the ceremony concluded, Aaron met with delegates privately. Many expressed curiosity, some sought alliances, and others simply wanted to understand the human mind that had guided them through danger. Aaron shared knowledge, offered solutions, and listened to concerns. He realized that diplomacy, courage, and intellect could achieve what force alone never could. Over the following cycles, Aaron helped establish new interstellar protocols. Humans were included in councils that had once ignored them. Alien civilizations began to seek collaboration rather than dominance. The void entity, though still a threat, was studied carefully by combined teams, using strategies inspired by human ingenuity. The galaxy slowly began to change, becoming a place where cooperation and creativity mattered as much as power and experience. One evening, as Aaron walked along the observation deck with Mara, he reflected on how far they had come. "Do you think we've really changed things?" he asked. Mara smiled. "We've started a new chapter. The galaxy has seen what humans can do. It won't be easy, but you've opened the door." Aaron nodded, gazing at the stars. "It's strange. We're small, young, and inexperienced. But somehow that is our strength. We think differently, we adapt, we learn quickly, and we care. That is what the galaxy hasn't seen before." "Yes," Mara agreed. "And now they will." News of Aaron's leadership and humanity's role spread beyond Oriali's prime. Worlds that had once dismissed humans as insignificant began to reach out. Trade agreements, exploratory missions, and scientific collaborations grew in ways that had been unimaginable. Humans, once a minor species, now had a voice, and Aaron had become a symbol of their potential. The Zalaris Queen visited Aaron privately. "You have exceeded expectations," she said. "Not through power, but through wisdom, courage, and empathy. You have shown that humans can lead not by dominating, but by uniting. That is rare in any species." Aaron bowed. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only did what humans have always done, adapted to survive and help others when possible. I hope this is only the beginning." The Queen nodded. "It is, and the galaxy will remember. Your name and the name of your people will be spoken with respect for generations to come." As the flagship traveled back to human space, Aaron reflected on the journey. From the moment the Queen had chosen him publicly, everything had changed. The galaxy had paused to watch a human rise in the face of the impossible. Now, humans were no longer just observers. They were leaders, thinkers, and a force to be respected. On Earth, news of Aaron's achievements inspired people everywhere. Humanity had always dreamed of the stars, but now, humans could imagine themselves as part of something larger. They could see that courage, intelligence, and cooperation could elevate them beyond their home planet. Aaron stood at the edge of the flagship, looking out at the stars. He felt the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of possibility. The void entity remained a threat, and challenges would continue, but he knew that humans, though young in the galaxy, had proven they could rise to the occasion. "Humans have a place here," he said quietly to himself, "and we will not waste it." As the stars stretched before them, Aaron knew that the galaxy had changed, not through fear or force, but through courage, ingenuity, and unity. The silence that had once followed the Queen's public choice was replaced by anticipation, curiosity, and respect. The galaxy would watch humans now, not as a minor species, but as a rising force capable of shaping the future. And Captain Aaron Vega, once a simple explorer, now a symbol of humanity's potential, looked forward to the adventures ahead. He knew the journey was far from over, but for the first time, he felt that humans were truly ready to meet the challenges of the stars. The stars stretched endlessly before him, each one a reminder of possibility, hope, and the promise of a new galactic era, an era where humans would play a part in shaping the destiny of countless civilizations. And with that, the human race stepped fully into the galaxy, no longer underestimated, no longer silent, and ready to lead when the moment demanded it.